It's time for a big long read, the latest from our daily newsletter at podnews.net. Spotify has launched audiobooks in the US only. Audiobooks are an extra cost. You'll be taken to a website to purchase. Spotify's Nir Zickerman calls it an epic shift in a personal blog post. Former Spotify exec Michael Mignano calls it a big deal for creators in a Twitter thread, comparing it to Audible's effective monopoly and flat-rate pricing model. Podcast hosting company Captivate has just announced version 2 of their dynamic content and monetization engine, Amy. The tool includes new slot management, interface upgrades, and tagging to allow podcasters to manage dynamic content quickly and at scale. Students in a school in Denver, in Colorado, in the US, have taken the school district to court for trademarking their podcast's name. The school district appears to have applied for No Justice, No Peace, The Take as a registered trademark for an educational podcast and a logo for t-shirts, bags and umbrellas. The district is also accused of taking over the podcast's social media accounts. Spotify's The Ringer has added local sports podcasts focusing on some of the biggest sports markets in the country: Boston, Chicago, New York and Philadelphia. Find out what they are in our show notes and our newsletter at podnews.net. The Democracy Group has announced a student podcast fellowship designed to help high school and college students make their voices heard on topics in democracy. Podcast hosting company RSS Blue has added support for Albi and Fountain digital wallets for Podcasting 2.0's value for value. And do you want a PhD in podcasting and audio journalism? Do you like rain? You can now bring those two joys in your life together at the University of Tasmania in Australia. They tell us full scholarships are available and applications close on October the 10th. And we should point out it is Australia, obviously, so rain may be substituted with bushfires. In People News, 2 promotions at Radiotopia from PRX. Audrey Mardovich has been appointed executive producer and Yuri Losordo appointed director of network operations. And in podcast news, Serial released a new episode of its podcast following the release of Adnan Syed from prison. The podcast doesn't take credit for the release. Instead, it notes the work of Rabia Chowdhury and other campaigners and puts the case in a wider context of US justice. The episode also replaced The Daily. Who Wears the Pants is new from Audio Boom, featuring social media superstars Josh and Abby Herbert. So we probably don't need to tell you anything more about that one. Demand for skilled workers remains at an all-time high despite a topsy-turvy economy. Higher Learning is new. It's called HIRE Learning. See what they did there. And they talk with hiring managers at leading companies. Walks of Life premiered yesterday from Some Friends, Salt and Yahoo's In the Know. It's an anonymous time capsule where every episode brings you inside the mind of one Gen Zer while they take a walk in their neighbourhood. This is History, a Dynasty to Die For is new from Sony Music Entertainment. It explores the story of the most dysfunctional royal family of the Middle Ages, the Plantagenets, and examines how power, greed, religion and sex fueled their lives with turmoil. Drinks Adventures is back for a 14th season with none other than Dan Aykroyd, vodka advocate and entertainer. Dan's on the show to talk about vodka, specifically Crystal Head Vodka, the brand he founded in 2008, and a bite-sized podcast for kids and their adults that explains what's going on in the world. The 10 News has started season 3 with a new logo, new format and new co-hosts. And that's the latest from our newsletter. To read all the stories and subscribe, we're at podnews.net.